The NABC Coach of the Year in 1996. All right. Without further ado, the head coach of the University of Kentucky, Mr. John Calipari.
They forget to tell you that I was fired by the New Jersey Nets. That's the one they leave off that little thing they do. Better off, right? I don't know about that. I got to tell you a story. You guys are in a business and that's so up and down and sideways and up. We're all, but this right now, our country is that way. And my dad used to say, keep things in perspective. It's never quite as good as it seems, and it's never quite as bad as it seems. Just keep them in perspective. Keep marching forward. He used to say it to us all the time, and it was ingrained in our heads. So the story about it is my sister went away to college. Do we have any Penn State graduates here? You're the first Penn State graduate I've ever met. I got to give that to you. My sister and brother-in-law graduated from Penn State. Great school. I call it the Happy Valley. So it's a great place. Went away, hadn't heard from her in 2 months. She sends a letter back, and it's my mother says to my father, do you want me to read this letter from your daughter? He said, yes. So we're having dinner, and my mother starts and says, dear Mom, Dad, Leah, and John, everything here in the Happy Valley is wonderful. I really love it here, socially, educationally. It's a wonderful place. My dorm did burn to the ground, and I lost all my books and belongings, but I've gone to Goodwill. I got some clothes, I've borrowed books. I'm all caught up. I have moved into an off-campus apartment. I have a new roommate, Jim. My dad kind of puts down his fork. Jim. I think you're going to grow to admire and love Jim as I do. He's been out of rehab for 6 months now, and he's really made great strides. And the letter goes on to say, I want to apologize to all of you for not inviting you to the wedding. It happened rather quickly. Now my dad had that vein that was right there. But I do want to congratulate you, Mom and Dad, on becoming grandparents. And I think you'll be the greatest grandparents ever. Now my dad's like, and the bottom of the letter said, your loving daughter, Terry, P.S. Dad, all of the above is a lie. I failed chemistry, and I wanted you to keep things in perspective. But I tell that story because it's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. Somewhere in the middle is reality, and we keep marching forward, keep being disciplined in what we're doing, and it seems to work out. Whether it's good luck or bad luck, and fate intervenes in our lives. It does. We can sit here and you can look at, well, this happened because I'm just good. No, you've had some luck. But there's other times things have happened that you didn't deserve, and they hit you. And you got to deal with those things. Fate intervenes. I'm coaching this year, and I'm in the Final Four, and this just tells you why you can't get hyped one way or another. Radio guy comes up to me and says, so, Coach, they say you're the best coach to never win a championship. How do you feel about that? And I'm like, is that a compliment? Or are you busting my stones here? I mean, what are we doing here? We win the championship. I'm excited. Same guy says, Coach, they say you're the worst coach to ever win a national title. How do you feel? You're not pleasing them. It doesn't matter. And you march on. I tell you those things because the volatility of what we do, it's not whether you're going to have good things happen to you or bad. You're going to have both. It's what do you do with the good things and what do you do with the bad things. When you're talking about what I've tried to do historically, is one, through leadership, create a culture of innovative thinking, proactive thinking, and really just trying to keep all of us curious. You know, one of the things that I stayed here, I came out early because I wanted to hear the social media stuff. And those guys were really good. And they gave me a picture that I needed to know where none of us really know where it's going, but it appears to go like this. This is what it appears to be doing. We started this social media stuff, and really there's no other program doing what we're doing. 1.2 million Twitter followers. Now, the Twitter followers are not all like lovers. You got some haters on there too now. But we have 400,000 Facebook friends, dear friends of mine. And they are like zombies. They're bumping into walls. We had 1 million page viewings on our website, a coach's website, not the coach, 1 million page viewings in April. What percentage do you think were women?
54.
56% were women. Now, you wouldn't think women would be on a coach's website. The good news for me as a coach, when I go recruiting, I really don't talk to the father. He has nothing to do with this. I'm talking to the mothers. The father asked a question. Yeah, it's good, yeah. I'm talking to the mothers. So it was interesting to see that. I would tell you that we wondered, what did we have? So I went to John Schneider at Papa John's and I said, John, can we do something together? I want to see what how do we move these people? Is this an army? Or are these people just reading? Can we move them? Went to Papa John's and we came up with a deal. If you buy a pizza with this code, $1 from your pizza goes to Children's Hospital, Kentucky Children's Hospital. Pretty good, right? How much did Papa John's spend on this promotion? They made a donation to the Children's Hospital. 6 weeks, 75,000 pizzas. What? How many would you think were from the state of Kentucky? 50, 70, 23%. Every state in the union, Idaho, Montana, Alaska, bought pizza with that code. So you start figuring out that we really still don't know what we have, but you gotta say we got something here. And really, we're looking at it now. I was in town last night meeting with a guy that's starting a Q5, which is trying to take what they were talking about today, which is a group, and that group together, whether it's basketball or lacrosse, that group are friends and they exchange information, including, I love what he said about real-time video. So now I'm saying to him, okay, here's what I want. I want every high school coach in this country connected to me, and their players connected to me, and I have real-time video to them. Now I've got a big-time advantage. So those are the things, and I would say this to you. We weren't the first coach to get into Twitter. So being innovative doesn't mean you're the first. Let the other guy spend all the money and invest to do, okay, now you jump in right behind. And that's what we've done with all these things that we're doing. We haven't been the first. The other thing was the dribble drive motion offense. And so, do you guys know anything about what I'm talking about when I say dribble drive? Okay. It's a different style of playing basketball. The old school where we played, pass, screen. We got 7 screens and 5 passes, and then we're moving. Drive the ball. You'll hear me. Take them. Now everybody take them. And then we space out, and then you're driving down. We're running down. Well, what happens is your team becomes the aggressive team. I didn't invent it. A junior college coach came to watch us work out. Showed me this stuff. I said, you're out of your mind. I never heard of it. We went to it. Took me 3 years to get to where I was comfortable really going to it. It helped my recruiting. Now every kid wants to play this way. So all of a sudden I was able to get better players. And you know what I found out? The better my players are, don't tell anybody this, the better I coach. So some of it is not just that it's that style, but not afraid to be innovative, because now you're seeing other coaches going to it. Because it was us, they weren't going to copy us. Now they're having to copy us because it's affecting recruiting. And more schools are going to the dribble drive. The other one And everybody thinks that, like, I invented this one and done. How many of you know that's Cal's deal, one and done? I don't even like it. You don't think I want to coach these kids for 4 years? Could you imagine if I had that team I just had for 3 years? We'd be chasing UCLA, trying to win 80 in a row. But that's not the rules. I think the rule should be, if a young man stays more than 1 year, he stays 2, 3, or 4, take a year off his rookie NBA contract. You encourage him to stay. Those kids and there's probably 15 in each class. So you're talking 15, you're talking 40, 45 kids. You're not talking 300 kids. Those young men in each class who there's an insurance thing that they can do, insurance policy, disability, if they're eligible for that, they should be able to take a loan. If they stay more than 2 years, wipe the loan out. Now, doesn't that sound logical? So now you encourage them to stay on. We're not doing that. What happened was we started losing players to the draft. I was sick. This kid's leaving, oh my gosh. Well, what happened by accident, as the kids left, other kids were saying, I want to go there and leave too. And I went, yeah. And so we took a situation that wasn't a good situation and said, okay, how do we deal with this the way it is? Now, let me say this. We've graduated 7 players in 3 years. 7 have gotten their college degree. We had a 3.2 grade point average. As a team, 10 out of our 14 guys had a B average. You know this APR that affected Connecticut, where they lost scholarships and we're the highest in our league. So it's not at the expense of education. It's just that if your son, Brandon Knight, was a straight A student, straight A's, but had a chance to be drafted 7th in the NBA draft, you would tell him no, you're going to stay in school because he could go buy a school in about 8 years and graduate from that. Why wouldn't you? Do they have to be on your timetable? How many of you all here graduated exactly in 4 years? Okay, there's smart ones, okay? I got a smart crowd here. Why did I even ask that question? Some of you are going to say, I graduated in 3, Coach. Go ahead, bust me up here. There it is. I knew somebody graduated, 2 of them. But most people now, because of finances, they stop going to school. They can't afford it. They got to go get work, earn some more money. They come back, and it takes some time. Why can't these guys do it? But my thing was, let's prepare them, let's challenge them, let's promote them, and let's deal with what's the result of that. And instead, the other way of doing it is, it's your son. He's the #1 pick in the draft. I convince him to come back to school, and he gets hurt. How do you feel about me now? You know what I told Tyreek Evans? He came in to me and said, Coach, what do you think I ought to do? Simple. If you want to do what's right for you and your family, ends up being Rookie of the Year. You want to do what's right for you and your family, you put your name in that draft. You want to do what's right for me and my family, why don't you stay a couple more years, we'll have a little fun. So that's some of the stuff that we've had to deal with. Now, the other side of this that we've had to build is a culture of trust, an openness, and not only within staff and within the team, but within the Big Blue Nation. Part of the social media is being really transparent, being ahead of stories. The biggest thing I'll tell you, it starts with the recruiting process for me when I'm talking to my players. Trust. I can't promise them that they're going to start shots, minutes. I don't. If I were recruiting you or your son, you know what I say? It's not for everybody. Kentucky is not for everybody. If you want someone to promise you you're going to start 20 shots a game, minutes, you're going to have to go somewhere else. We don't do that here. If you want to be the only guy to score, you want to shoot 30 times a game, you're not coming here. Do you want to win a national title? Yeah. Can you do it by yourself? No. So you're telling me you need to be on a team with 7 or 8 other players just like you. Okay. So that means you can't take all the shots. Did you know the 5th most shots taken on our team this year? Anthony Davis. What pick was he? You mean to tell me the 5th most shots taken on your team was by the #1 player in the draft? It's crazy. The 4th most shots on my team. The 4th. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Where was he picked? Oh my gosh, he was picked #2. Doesn't matter how many shots you take. It's how you play. It's if your team wins. Do you want that? If you don't want that, you don't come with us. If you want to drink, smoke, or chase, go to another school. Because you'll be on first take, it'll be on the ticker. You go to another school, they don't care. You can beat people up, do what you do it at Kentucky, you got a problem. You're everybody's Super Bowl. You ready for that? Every game you play is sold out. Not one empty seat. Can you deal with that? What do you mean? We're the biggest game on everybody's schedule. Can you deal with that? You would feel like taking a couple games off. You can here. Are you real or are you a fraud? Because if you're a fraud, don't come here. So the approach to recruiting is, let's keep it real. I'm not going to BS you. This is what it is. It starts with that process. You heard of Anthony Davis said to me when I was recruiting him, I knew how good he was. Didn't have any post game, but let me say this. As a junior in high school, the #1 pick in the draft, the youngest Olympian, his team won 6 high school games in the smallest division in Chicago. What? His senior year, they ramped it up. 6'10", best player in the country, won 7 high school games in the smallest division in Chicago. What? Is he that good? Well, when he can do what he does on a good team, yes. But I went in to recruit him. And you always ask questions first. It would be like, I'm going in, what are you looking for? What do you want from this? What's your education? You go through questions. What position do you want to play? Anthony told me he wanted to be a shooting guard. He's 6'10". Now, he grew from 6'3" to 6'10" and really believed he was a shooting guard. Now, I had to be honest with him. I wasn't going to lie. I was going to tell him the truth. And I told him, okay, you can be a shooting guard. And I said, but our shooting guards do post up a lot. I want you to know that too. But the whole idea of trust starting with the first 5 minutes of a meeting, if trust is broken, it's done. Within what we do, we talk about we're a players first program. Players first. Things happen, the university will be 100 years old and it'll be a blip on the screen. But the decisions we make for those young people will affect them the rest of their lives. It's a players first program. Every decision we make, whether it be scheduling, traveling, workout schedules, are all based on what's best for them. The decisions we make after the season is based on them. It's a players first program. And I would tell you, from building that kind of trust, what they see in us is a consistent level every day. I was just telling somebody, my pregame talk in the championship game, national title game. All right, guys, we ready? We got the board done. We know how we're going to play. Any questions on anything? All right, let's go get it done. That was my Newt Rockney. I mean, we gave the same talk we were consistent and disciplined, and I didn't need to motivate the stuff. It's not about that. It's about being a consistent coach in what you're doing and how you're dealing with people. And with your business, it's more, instead of going 100 miles and 4 miles and 100 miles and 2 miles, it's about going 20 miles every day. 21 miles, 19 miles, 20 miles, 19, 20, every day. We call it breaking barriers daily. That's how you develop mental and physical conditioning, where every day you're doing a little bit more, you're doing something extra, every day you're breaking barriers. Every day you're pushing yourself beyond. And we try to get that in how we practice. Mistakes are acceptable. They're acceptable. They're all learning opportunities. I'd rather them be in practice than the games, but they're also acceptable in the games. You're not going to have a basketball game without any errors. You just need to manage what those errors are. And if they know it's okay to turn it over and make a bad play every now and then, they'll turn it over less. Last year, as fast as we played, we averaged 11 turnovers per game. One of the lowest in the country. Think about it. All freshmen and sophomores. All young players. They're acceptable. You're not going to get blasted. Unless you're selfish or lazy, then you're getting blasted. Those two are unacceptable mistakes. But I want them to know it's okay. The only way people will charge and go is if they know it's okay to stub my toe every once in a while. Where did that blow to? This is new. Some of this stuff is new for you specifically. So, here's a good one for everyone here. We talk about this daily. Be the teammate you want to play with. Be the worker you want to work with. Be the leader that you would want to lead you. Be the player you want to play with. Pretty simple, isn't it? And lastly, having that burning desire to win. What we do every day, every drill that we use, there's a winner and a loser. I'm not a long practice guy. We go 2 hours. Well, that's why they say you can't coach. Okay, then I can't. We just win a lot. I don't know what happens. I must be a magician. We don't practice long, but everything we do is winning and losing. And then there's a result. So if you lose, you run. Every drill. And you start creating the desire to win at everything. So every play we play in a game, there's a winner and a loser. Did you rebound or did he rebound? He rebounded twice. Now you're out, and let's put this guy in. And then you say, he's rebounding, isn't he? Woo, you seeing that? Yes, I can be harsh, but it's not. I'm not being mean. I'm being real. I will tell you a great story. We've all had this desire, that burning desire. My nephew played baseball, 9 years old. I'd go out to watch him play. His name was Matt. Played right field. Any sons play right field, you know your son's not very good if he's in right field. Okay, there you got one out there, right field. What happens is you're hoping nothing's hit to him. If it is, you're like, oh my gosh. And you're happy that there's a fence back there. I saw it. You're happy that there's a fence back there because it's going to stop the ball. When he gets up to bat, please tell me, do you say, swing, swing? Do you do that? When the pitcher is right here, you're yelling, swing, because what he does is it hits the catcher's mitt, and then he swings. Okay, Matt was in right field. So I come to the game a little late. I'm about 20 minutes late, and there's no score. And I'm like, what the heck happened here? So I said, Matt, what's the score? He looks at me, he said, Uncle John, it's 17-0. Well, it's still in the first inning. It's 17-0. Now you're thinking of the mercy rule and all that. And the little guy looks right back at me and says, but we haven't been up yet. And what's funny with that, you all smile, but we've all been there. That was us. What happens over a period of time, we lose that will or that fire to do something crazy. And you know, I would tell you, what I'm trying to teach is that burning desire to win, which they figure out, we got to do this together or we're not winning. It's amazing what gets done when no one cares who gets the credit. Amazing what gets done when no one cares. We're all in this together, we're all going to benefit. 6 of my players got drafted. 6 of them. It's never happened before in the history of our game. 2 years ago, you ready? 5 got drafted in the first round. Can I make it? Do you mind if I brag a minute? Why not? How many of you from New York? Brag a little bit. Let me say a couple things here. Every starter that I've coached at Kentucky has been drafted. Do you know how stupid that is? Every starter that I've coached has been drafted. Would you like your son to play for me? Please start him, coach. Wait a minute, my 6th man in 2010 was Daniel Wharton. He got drafted in the first round. My 6th man last year was DeAndre Liggins. He got drafted and is playing in Orlando. My 6th man this year was Darius Miller. He got drafted in New Orleans. So, Coach, you're telling me every starter and every six-man has been drafted? Yes. Some after 1 year, some after 2 years, some after 3 years. Some guys go after 4. Some guys go to the league and have their degree. It's crazy, but they've all figured out, if we do this together, wow. You know what I told John Wall? John Wall, you're coming in here, they're saying you're going to leave after a year. You ready what I told him? Don't you leave here by yourself. Drag 3 with you or 4. I was hoping he'd only drag 2. He dragged 4. We had 5 guys drafted in the first round that year. So again, that burning desire, they figure out, I can't do this by myself. If I really want to win, I'm going to have to share the sacrifice here, and we're going to have to do this together. The last part of it, then I'll answer some questions, is having a really focused culture. You have to be able to really have that vision of what you want and be very specific with it. I'll give an example. I send out a summer letter every year, and in it, it's veiled, but it's known we're trying to win every single game. Now, you may look at me and say, that's stupid. Perfection is our goal. You ready? Excellence. Okay, we'll take that. But my goal before I retire is to coach a team that goes 40-0. Why not? Never been done. Well, you can't do it. It's never been done. Why? That's what I want my guys to understand. We're not just trying to be good. Good is our enemy. We're trying to be great. We're trying to have perfection. We know it's nearly impossible to do it, but that's what we're chasing. The vision, again, is a shared vision where we're all in it together. Excuse me. Result driven. I'm not a big guy. I don't like to have 1,000 meetings. We have a meeting, we all know what we need to do, now go out and get it done. When I have a practice plan, my practice plan